Good morning. Our hand today is going to be pocket eights. This is a 25 NL game. We've got six hands, or six-handed right now, and this is early in the session. I only have 8 hands here. A player who we've played against, I got 4K, over 4,000 hands with him, or about, so 3.6K. He open races at 2.4, and it's on me, and I just call. So this player is playing 18, 12, 4. 45% fold to 3-bet stat. His c-bet stat's right around 60%. You can see his cutoff raise for sins about 23%. He's a decent player. I have him as a winner, $16 over this time period. Raise for stint overall is 19%. So when I look at the ranges, I'm looking at something like this, 22.8%. I think that's probably pretty good. I'm sure we probably have a bunch of notes on him, right? So I've got it. I put Red Chipper as kind of like a player who studies, because I've seen the name or similar name in forums, in various poker forums. So maybe he's a decent player. So I've got, limp first in from the small blind at King 7. I have him ISO raising early position with 6-5 suited. Bets flops and turns on that middle pair, and then open-ended straight when he hits it. I just think this is going to be a pretty decent range. So that's his range. Me on the button, I looked at my 3-bet versus call range. I've got something like this. Obviously, 3-bet probably be pretty good right now, because it'll get him to fold a lot of his hands. Really, he'll fold out a bunch of these hands down here, unpaired hands, probably suited aces. I know he's gonna realize, or he recognizes he's out of position. He's not gonna be playing a whole lot, so 3-betting is gonna win me the pot a big chunk of the time. But sometimes you just have to call instead of 3-bet and hope you hit. So I'm gonna think I probably called here, either because I've already 3-bet him recently, or more than likely I'm calling because I'm hoping to flop and win a big pot versus this player, because I know he's going to have a wider range than he typically does. Let's say if he was raising from early position. Both players folded. I knew this player, chance that he calls, but that's okay. I was okay with the pocket pair. We can change it and say if I have like ace 2, ace 3, ace 6, one of these suited aces or these hands, I think these are a little bit better for 3-betting in this situation, because I think villain's just going to be folding, and I mean, we don't really have anything. Even if we connect with one of our pairs, we could be behind. Same thing here with eights, but at least if we hit trip eights, there's a good chance that we could win a bigger pot than just what we have in the on the flop. So we go heads up. Board's king 4-2 with 2 spades. On this board, villain, I'm kind of expecting villain to c-bet, and then I think we can go ahead and fire a raise a little bit as protection. We don't really have any backdoor draws here, so we want to try to be a little bit aggressive. If he bets, I think he's going to continue. If he bets, I raise. He's going to continue with the king. He's probably going to continue with spade draws. He could be continuing with like a hand like ace queen, ace jack, maybe queen jack. Idea for me is that I've got 8 out, the 8s, but I also think the spades. If a spade comes, if I raise and a spade comes, he could easily give me credit for the spade flush, unless he has the ace of spades. If he has the ace of spades, then my plan just goes out the window. But that's poker. That's the randomness of the game. So villain checks, and that's unusual. What does he check? How about this? Let's set percentage. I think this guy's capable of checking top pair and checking the over pair. Because he's not going to be worried about being outdrawn. I think he would probably, this is just a board, he's out of position. Maybe the flush draw he bets. Let's do this. Let's get our bets here. I think maybe the flush draw he bets. The gut shots he bets. Maybe the 2-card backdoor flush draws he bets. And then I think he check calls these. And then, yeah, the other percent, we're at 32 for betting those. And then these no-made hands. Oops, let's change those. I think he bets those. And that gets him almost to 60. So when he checks, now let's get these out. We are going to say he's checking these hands, which you can see he does have some decent hands here. Does have some decent hands. I think if he checks, I bet he's probably going to call with all of those hands. He's probably going to call with all of those hands. Now I know the play is to go ahead and bet. He showed weakness and he bet, and he checked, or he showed weakness by checking. In a 5 or a 10 NL game, I would fire out a bet and probably fire out a bet on the turn as well. But I think this is a thinking player. He's purposefully checking, and I think there's a lot of hands that he's checking that he has me beat. So for me, we're going, I think we're going to bet our set for value. I think our top pair we're going to check. No, probably not. I don't think so. If we bet our set and our top pair, then we're also going to be betting maybe a flush draw. I think we're betting flush draw. Probably better. All of our flush draws. No. I think we're going to check our ace highs. We're going to bet all of our other ones. We want our ace high hands because if we bet the other ones and we get a fold, hey, that's great because we're folding out. We might be folding out cards that could catch to beat us outside of the spades. Maybe we're just checking with our entire range, almost our entire range. That might actually be our play. And mix it up. We're kind of deep. Nah, I still think I'm betting the sets, and I still think I'm gonna be betting those flushes. Those little ones, the ace X flushes, I don't want to bet because I don't want to bet and then get raised off my hand. Here, I could conceivably be check raised by the ace X of the spades. So, we bet, he comes over the top. I think we just fold. I think the gut shots we're checking, 2-card backdoor flush draws we're checking. So I think we've got, our range is going to be definitely weaker because we have so many hands, but I think check's probably the appropriate play. 3 hearts comes out. Now if he checks again, we're probably going to take a stab at this pot. He bets, more of a delayed C bet. I think with this hand, it's going to be consistent with our overpair, top pair hands, and probably some of these better hands here. Would it be with all of those? I don't know. So we could look at 40% is his bets. Would he bet with his draws? Let's see here. Let's check the flop and the turn. Check raise flop out of position with second nut flush. Check down tens in position, in mid position on an ace king board. Check down nines on button on the king queen board. Check call with bottom trips. Yeah, I think so. I don't think we have all of these pocket pairs. I think we're going to go that, and I think we're probably going to be beat here. But there is a possibility that if he does do this with, let's say, a gut shot with like the lone ace and a pair, I think that's reason enough to say I'm going to probably have to call with these pocket pairs, with these small pairs. These other pairs, I think we're just going to have to get rid of them. We're still calling. I think sets we're going to raise. Top pair is going to be a call. If I raise, what hands is he calling? I think he's probably going to call with everything, minus those gut shots, and he doesn't have a whole lot. So, no, I think we're just calling. I don't think we're going to be playing aggressively and raising. I think if the spade gets there and he checks, we bet he's probably going to call his top pair. So it's one of those things, if I raise and he calls now, and then I hit the spade, he's not going to call again. He's not going to call again, not this player. So I think we're only getting one more street if the flush draw comes there, comes in. And I don't even think it's going to be much of a difference. We do have some combo draws that we could probably be aggressive and raise. So maybe a6, that's going to help to offset. Yeah, it's going to kind of offset the sets that we were raising with. A6. I don't have like 7, 8. 7, 8 could have been another one. And I don't have. Yeah, and then maybe 5s. We would probably bet. Because a 6 or an ace. I think that's what I think that's going to be our range. We're still behind for our calling range. So I did call. 3 of clubs comes out. That doesn't help. If he checks, I think this is basically pot control. I bet he's going to call with probably all of his hands. I don't think he's calling with the middle pair. I think he's calling with every hand that beats me. So I don't think there's any benefit in me betting here, so I should just check behind. And he shows king 8 for the top pair. He didn't have that. I didn't have that in his range. I had him going down to king 9. So if he has king 8, he probably has maybe these as well, and maybe not as much of these lower cards. So Let's take a hand since we have been playing with this guy a lot. Just so we can get it in there. Oops. Let's see if I can write RFI 2.4 big blinds in cutoff with king 8 diamonds. And then he's out of position. He checks. Bet 50%. Check. On a king of spades, 4 spades, 2 of diamonds, 3 hearts, 3 clubs. So, yeah, he's checking for pot control. He would have check called that flop. Would he have folded at any point in the hand? I don't think so. So if I attacked on the flop and bet again on the turn, he's still calling. And then I don't think I'm getting a fold because the board never really becomes scary. He's not going to put me on a 3. He could maybe put me on a 5-6, but more than likely he's going to put me on maybe a spade draw. Maybe he folds because of his kicker. But with king 8, I'm going to guess he would call me down. So, kind of like how I play this hand. I lost, but I think it could have been worse. Definitely deviated from how I normally play, but it's because I was playing this player. And we've had some hands that we've reviewed with this player before too. So I do think he's a decent player. I think he was definitely capable of checking this flop. So if he's capable of checking his good hands on this flop, we can't be as aggressive as what we'd want to be. Would have been nice if an ace came, if we caught that last 8. Did I say ace? I said 8 because then it's going to give him 2 pair and it gives us trip. We're going to probably get, stacks, possibly, especially if the 8 came on the turn, because he could easily put me on a spade and he might call with his 2 pair. So 8 would have been really nice, but there's only one 8 left. All right, hopefully you enjoy this hand. If you do, look tomorrow for another one.